We're only going to do 3 motions today, but they will be for time. So depending on your fitness level, you can kind of decide at this point how you want to proceed. We are going to, you can go for 3 minutes or 5 minutes. So the motions will be a lunge and a push-up. So it's obviously lunge on each side. They count as something separate, and then a push-up position. The lunge, there doesn't have to be any modifications unless the lunge really bothers you. The push-up, as with any push-up, you can do it in a regular push-up position, as Michelle will show here, or you can do it modified. So she did that very well from a plank, and then just drop her knees to the floor. Everyone can see she dropped her knees to the floor. So either one of those positions will work. Today is called Extreme ISO Day, so that's where the minute comes into play. We are going to hold those positions for that amount of time. Like I said, if you don't feel comfortable trying to accrue 5 minutes of time in that position, then start ahead with 3, and then we can try to work our way up to 5. The difference is, though, we are going to be actively pulling ourselves into those positions. So especially in the lunge, it's really easy to kind of hang out just in this lunge position for 5 minutes. The difference being, in lunge will be our first direction. So I'll explain this one first. To actively pull yourself in a lunge, I want you to think about pawing this front foot into the ground. So if I had my weight on my back foot, my front foot would be making this motion. I'm really digging it into the ground. All the force is coming back through my heel. I'm bringing my foot backwards, but it'll stay still. Does that make sense to everyone? You're actively pulling your front foot back, okay? And then your back foot, you're pushing forwards. So if it didn't have the ground under my feet, my legs would be scissoring together, coming together like this. I'm pulling that front foot back, pushing that front foot forward. So the whole time you're really pulling back and you're pushing forward. So you'll feel that your hamstrings are activated in the back, and you'll feel that your hamstrings are really activated in the front. You'll feel it through your calves because you're pulling into the ground, and I'm pushing into the ground in the back. So like I said, if the floor wasn't here, my back foot would be sliding forwards because I'm really trying to pull it forwards, and I'm really trying to pull this front foot back, but the ground is keeping me stationary. Does that make sense to everyone? You can kind of see how I'm activating. This is passive. This is me hanging out in the lunge. This is me pulling myself into the lunge. Does that make sense to everyone? Jess, you look a little confused. Does that make sense? Good? Okay. So at this point, if you have your timer, I would start the timer as soon as you start in the position. This would also be cheating to start up in this just straddle position and not down in a lunge. So you want to start in a little bit of a lunge, but I don't need you to start the whole way at like 90 degrees in the front. Start up a little bit higher, because the goal is that you're going to eventually be so taxing on your legs that you'll slowly be falling into this position. Once your knee touches the floor, or this just becomes absolutely too unbearable, stop your timer, shake yourself out a little bit, give yourself a couple seconds, and then you're right back in that top position. Does that make sense? Good? Okay. 3 minutes. Then the next thing will be in a push-up position. So it's the same idea. So like Misha showed you, you can do full push-up position, both knees off the ground, or modified. The push-up though, you'll want to start with a slight bend in your elbow. So this isn't a huge bend, obviously, but I'm not starting in a high plank because you can hold this a lot longer. So for the plank, same thing, you're starting your stopwatch. You'll start with a little bit of bend in your elbow. You're really pushing your hands into the floor, and you're just trying to hold. Our arms and our chest tend to be a little bit weaker than our legs, so it's the same deal. I'm going to fail slowly out of this. See, I'm slowly getting closer to the floor, really trying to hold myself up as that angle at my elbow decreases. When I touch the floor, stop my watch, take a little break if you need to get some wrist cars in there, okay? And then you're back to the top. A slight bend in your elbow and failing slowly out of that. You're good. You're good.